There was a time when I was going every 3 weeks. I was going to the barbers to get a really nice trim on the sides. And then in the beginning that worked fine because then it looks like you still have something on the top. But then after a while, I did that until like a few months ago. I mean, like even 2 months ago. And it's just like, here is bald, then you got a little hair, then you bald again. So that's really, you're not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
That's the time when I really realized like, okay, no, it's not possible anymore to do this. Yeah. My name is Dieter. I live in Belgium, next to Brussels. I'm 28 now. When I started noticing it, I think I was about 24. That I really started seeing like, okay, it's going backwards. It's not what it used to be. It's not the volume. The thickness is going a little bit in the opposite direction.
You said it was 24 when you first noticed it was, and you just noticed it was getting slowly thinner.
Yeah.
Were there any other signs that you noticed? You know, a lot of people talk about hairs on the pillow or when you're washing your hair, thinking, hey, this is kind of quite a lot of hair. Did you notice any other things like that?
No, not so much actually. I heard other guys talking about this, but for me, not too much in the shower or not pillow, not really. Just started noticing like here is going backwards, like the side, the two things on the side are going really high, and also the thickness here. I was feeling it like it's getting a lot thinner than on the sides. It was really strong, still strong right to this day. After a shower, like if the hair is really flat and wet, it was like, okay, now I clearly see that it's very thin. But it was still pretty long, I was keeping it long. I always kept it long, a head full of hair, so I didn't think about doing it short or anything yet. Some people would make like a little comment that started to come, like a little remark from maybe a friend or a person I saw in the bar or something. And then I know this got me thinking like, okay. And then then it really became clear. Yeah, okay, I'm losing my hair. During my younger years, I never thought about it, even though my father has the same. His brother, my uncle, also my grandfather, on both sides, bald. So actually, it should have been clear a lot earlier, but I never thought about it. It's when you're young, you don't think about it. It's only when you start losing the hair that you think that you're losing hair.
Can you remember how you felt at that time? Was you said you didn't really think about it. And then when you kind of realized, was there this immediately did you begin to worry about it, or did you kind of take it easy, take it in your stride?
Yeah, in the back of my mind, I knew like, okay, I am going to have to deal with this in some way. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it because I was a lot of uncertainty. Like I Googled, of course, the obvious things, like how does a guy deal with baldness? And then like a hair transplant was never really an option for me. I saw these pictures of the scars on the back, and I thought, no, I don't want this. And then I read some guy's comment who said, I wish I never done this because now I can't even shave my head nicely because of the scars on the back. So I didn't really want this. The other products, I think I tried one day, like some kind of drops on the head. I can't remember what it was. It was years ago. I didn't do it for a long time, then just went with it.
From then on, I mean, we've seen the pictures, right? And I'll put these pictures on screen that you sent me, which are fantastic. And yeah, it kind of seems that you did the sort of right, we'll ride it, we'll enjoy it for kind of as long as I can. And I noticed that, you slowly began to get it cut shorter, right? And style it a bit differently.
Yeah. So there was always getting it shorter on the sides. There was a time when I was going every 3 weeks. I was going to the barbers to get a really nice trim on the sides. And then in the beginning that worked fine because then it looks like you still have something on the top. But then after a while, like I did that until like a few months ago. I mean, like even 2 months ago. And it's just like, here is bald, then you got a little hair, then you bald again. So that's really, you're not fooling anyone.
Yeah.
That's the time when I really realized like, okay, no, it's not possible anymore to do this. Yeah.
It's time to embrace it. Yeah. And we'll get onto that moment in just a minute. But during your mid-20s then, so as it's progressing sort of 25, 26, you mentioned as well, you got family members who are bald. Did you reach out to any of these people? Did you like ask them about it? Did you say like, hey, like this is going on? Like, have you got any advice? Do you remember having any conversations about the fact you were losing your hair?
I remember one time I was in the car with my mother, and she told me, yeah, your father has this, your grandfather have this, so that's why you just got the genetics for this. And she told me this, and I realized, yeah, it's 100% truth. You know, I can't help it. For the love, anything is just gonna be this way. My dad, he likes to just, or either he buzzes it like on 3 millimeters, or either he just lets it go a little longer. It's like he really doesn't care, and I think that's great. If you really like this, like you
Yeah.
don't care at all about the hair loss, that's really nice. But for me, at this age, that's really not working. And then my uncle, his brother, he's also the one who was also a really clean shave. This was kind of like, okay, give me an image of how it could be.
Yes. Yeah. And that's interesting. I wonder if having those role models, you know, in your family, guys, you could see, hey, like you said, with your own father, and I had a similar thing. I think I realized, like, hey, I was freaking out myself about it. You know, I was young, but I thought, listen, he's dealt with it. So there was like that little piece that I always thought, right, it can be done. You know, this can be accepted and embraced, and you can be absolutely fine. You know, I think having those people in your life that you just know, or other people that you know, really does help to keep you sane. You know, when you're going through losing your hair, right?
When I was 24, I noticed I was going bald, and then it was also the time for me to like pick up sports, because before I wasn't really into sports. I was going out drinking so much, just partying, doing nothing really. And then I also, something told me like I have to get a little in shape to just, it's going to be better if you are in shape, even if you're bald, doesn't really matter, but you got to get in shape. Not maybe not now immediately, but by the time you will be a little older, definitely yes.
Yeah.
So
It's
that helped me to, yeah, get me some confidence too. Yeah.
good. You're really into your cycling, and in staying healthy. And I think it's good to have those things that you're dedicated, because those things, how I describe it is, you can always make progress with those things. You know, you can always set new goals, make progress. So those are great things to focus on, rather than thinking about how your hair is going the opposite direction. It's fading away. It's regressing, if you like.
The sport, the working out really helped a lot in like keeping busy, doing something positive with my life. But oftentimes when I was cycling, I was like wearing caps, wearing hats, always putting the helmet on. Also because I knew I was losing my hair, didn't want to show it, especially after a bike ride. It gets really wet and messy. Why? Now I wonder why. Because it wasn't really necessary. What can I say? I tried to hide it too much. There were times when I was going out for a little walk, put on a cap, go to the supermarket, put on a cap. I mean, now I couldn't be bothered with it anymore, really.
Yeah. And that is really interesting, isn't it? How you can go from hiding it, you know, in all events. And I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. The helmet, right? Because I've had other guys on the channel, maybe guys that ride motorcycles. That's quite a popular one. You know, when you've got the hair, and you said you had it cut in a certain way to, you know, try and make it look as thick and as best that you can. But when you're wearing a helmet, I mean, it's bad enough when you've just got normal hair, right? Like thick hair.
Yeah.
But when it's thinning, and like you said, it gets a bit sweaty and wet, you take that off, or at least you feel like, oh, now it's really obvious that I'm losing my hair, and it feels uncomfortable, right? So is that a thing that was, I don't want to say affecting your cycling, but it was, when you were doing those things, it was kind of there in the back of your mind, I guess?
Definitely always in the back of my mind, and especially if you do a group ride with your friends, and then you go out after the ride, you go out for a pint, you go out for a drink, and then always, you know, you have to put on you put off the helmet, you go to the bar, and then really that's the moment when you realize, like, yeah, it's there in your head. You know, of course you can have a good time, you can have a chat, you can talk to your friends, but it's still going to be there in
And
somewhere, something little thing that's like saying like, yeah, it's weird, it's a weird thing.
I think some people have said before, like they would be worried, you know, if one of your friends is playing a joke and they'll snatch the hat off you, or someone asks you like, hey, you need no hats in here, you got to take your hat off. Like those things, like, oh, I hope no one's going to make me take this hat off, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's been a lot of moments like this. Like, for example, when I was at work with colleagues, and we were at lunch, the conversation was about hair, shampoos, everything. And I
Mm,
was just like, please don't look at me, please don't talk to me, don't say anything to me.
yeah.
Um, and now I'm like, I can't wait to make a joke, like talk about it. It's like,
Yeah.
I want to talk about it. And then back then I just like, please don't say anything to me about hair.
You don't want to bring any attention to it, do you? About 1 month ago, you decided, hey, you know, it's time. How did you eventually come to that decision?
I guess I was like going to see how does it progress, the hair loss, like maybe there's still going to be some or not really, but it was still going backwards. It was really funny because a few days before I shaved it off, I was like, okay, I'm going to give it one last chance. So I did the beard really short. So I was like, okay, if I keep the beard short, it's going to look like I have more hair on top. And then 2 days later, I don't know, I think I saw a video of you. I took the buzzer. I just did it all with the buzzer on like one, the shortest thing was possible. But then I had like yeah, okay, you have the horseshoe, you know, you have it's here really short, but not clean shaven. And then I guess 2 days later, I just decided now it's the time. Just took an old razor, started going away on it, and really I felt so good. I called my sister, I FaceTimed my sister, I FaceTimed a colleague, I FaceTimed a friend. I told them all, like, look, this is the new me.
Yeah.
It was so amazing how supportive they were. That was a good experience. Like just they say, wow, it's really good. Even a friend of mine who used to make fun of me for having having hair loss, he said, yeah, that's great. It's really good. I guess the friends were making jokes about it because they know it's like a little insecurity of you, and you know, when you're friends,
yeah,
you make jokes about this. But that was often was like this joke. It hurt a little bit, you know. Even if you can joke about them, about other things, you don't care about it, and they probably don't care about joking about your hair loss. Still, this hurt for you.
Yeah, it stings.
And now I'm the one making jokes. You know, that's great.
I wonder if you're able to describe like how it felt before and how it feels now.
I think the main thing for me is the confidence, just the confidence in the way I talk to people. I'm not going to the bathroom to take a picture to see how it looks or anything. I'm just talking. Before I was in a bar and there maybe some person I didn't see for a long time, they told me like, yeah, hey, where did your hair go? And I was like, I don't know. I'm wondering myself too, where it's going. And now, I mean, how to describe it? It's the confidence mainly for me. Once I shaved it, I forgot about it. If there's nothing there, there's nothing to worry about. That's how I feel about it.
For me, I think it's you are getting to the end point, if you like. You know, when it's slowly falling out, you're still thinking like, right, how much is it going to keep falling out? How am I going to look when more of this hair falls out? You know, you're always worrying about the future or worrying like, is someone going to say something like we said before, right? Is the conversation going to come onto my hair? You even said you had that very experience, someone in a bar, and then you're like, well, how do I explain it? I don't really want to be talking about this. So let's make a little, you know, let's quickly move on. But when you shave it off, it's like you just put a mark in the road. You know, you're like, right, I'm done with it now, and I just want to move on. And not only that, you know, it's so simple, you know, to like maintain. Just, I mean, in your life, being active and things like that, you know, those are all small things with the helmet and all that stuff. Just small things that are added benefits, but yeah, I think it's that thing, isn't it? Of just like, there's no more worrying now. There's no more wondering what's going to happen. How are people going to react? What am I going to look like? You do it, and then you get all of those answers, you know? So now there's nothing left to fear or to worry about. And it's just like, there's so much comfort in that.
There is. Once I did it, I couldn't wait to go outside for a walk, just with the hair, just like that. No more caps, no more, nothing. Just wear it in pride. This is it, and this is how I'm gonna do it. I think it's also coming with age a little bit because I'm 28 now. I think it's obvious to get a little more comfortable with yourself than at 20, 23. I don't know.
Yeah.
The channel was so good for me too because I'm really not alone with this. There's so much guys going through the same thing, and it's really okay. It's really normal.
Good.
There's nothing wrong about this. That was a great team.
Good, exactly. No, I'm glad that you know, those stories could help. And again, once again, you know, it's great to be having this conversation now. And I think this is why it's good, right? Because it just keeps going full circle. You know, someone else's story will help someone like you, and then you say, hey, you know what? Now you understand what we talk about when we have these conversations, and when we describe the before and describe the after. It's strange, isn't it? It's like you have to go through it to really understand it.
You really have to
Yeah.
go through it. Yeah, you do. And that's why sometimes I think like maybe I was another, if I would have all the hair, I would maybe be another person. Like I wouldn't be as active in things like working out or something. I would maybe be somebody else. I just feel the freedom of this right now.
You touched on earlier, you said like obviously when you're getting slightly older, and there's definitely like a maturity factor that comes into it, but also having dealt with the sort of, you know, the difficulties of going bald, you know, going bald at any age really, but especially, you know,
Yeah,
in your 20s, having dealt with that positively, you know, because that's what this is. It really it allows you to kind of look back on it and actually be like, I wouldn't change this, you know,
yeah,
and you'd be like, right, if this it hadn't have happened, I wouldn't be doing all of these things that I'm doing, all of these positive things that I'm doing now. And that's once again, that's why it's so great when you go through this like transformation, if you like,
yeah.
another positive thing to come from it.
It's really made me a stronger person, actually. You know,
Yes.
mentally, and yeah, it taught me so much, actually.
I know it's putting you on the spot a little bit, but if there's anything in your story that you think can help the other people, I'd love to hear it.
If I know what I know now, I would have done this 2 years ago. But I think you have to go to the process. You know, you have to go to every step, denying, accepting, fighting it. You have to go through it, I think. And once you get to this side, it's beautiful. And it's hard for me to say like do this, because there's not really one solution, I guess, to this yeah.
Well, I think you said it there well. It's like you reflect on your own journey with it, right? It's like embrace all the stages, and I guess know that just like ourselves, eventually there'll be something, and you'll slowly figure it out, you know. And it's so possible for every guy who's like struggling with the hair loss now to get to this point. So I think maybe just knowing that there's two guys here with bald heads who were once, you know, thinning out, going bald, worrying about it, and can now have a Zoom call and kind of relate on how, and on looking back on that, like it's a completely different time. I guess knowing that is advice in itself, you know.
When you go like, do you ever see yourself going bald? I would definitely say like, oh no, bald. It's really not. It's so ugly. It's not for me. I don't want to be a bald guy. But now I'm just like, oh my god, it's awesome to be a bald
Yeah.
guy.
Thank you so much once again, man. I really, really appreciate it. I can't wait to share this with everyone. And hey, for those watching and listening, hope you enjoyed this episode once again. And we'll see you very soon in the next one. Take care, man.